Hi, this is Reverend Dereca, and I am so excited to be with you on this first Sunday in March. It is a wonderful time of year for me because this is my birthday month, and if you know anything about me, you know I celebrate for the entire month. So I'm going to celebrate with you, my East Bay family, just recognizing and knowing that wherever I am, you are. And wherever you are, the East Bay Church is right there with you. And so I just want to express my gratitude for our entire church community growing so much every day, becoming richer and stronger and deeper in our work of service. So I'm grateful for my minister, mentor, and teacher, Reverend Dr. Eloise Oliver. I'm grateful for our board, our practitioners, our lay ministers, our youth and family. I'm grateful for the women's ensemble and the leadership of Sharon D. Henderson, who talked about us, loving in a more excellent way. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the opportunity for us to love in a more excellent way, for us to love without fear. So I want to start by telling a lie. There is a lie that we have been told that we sometimes tell ourselves, that some people don't deserve to be loved. This is a thing that we've been taught, but I'm going to ask you, especially those of you who identify as Christian or grew up in a Christian community or just are familiar with the life and times of the Christ. Quick, name 3 things that Jesus taught. I'll wait. Think about it. If I just ask you off the top of your head, what are the teachings of Christ that we embody in this philosophy as the Christ consciousness that every single one of us should embrace and relate to? So I'll tell you some of the ones that come to my mind first. Turn the other cheek. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. How many times should we forgive? Not 7, but 77 times. And yet this is not what we are taught in our society. This is not what we are taught in our communities. This is not what we are taught, some of us even in our own churches. And I ask myself sometimes, who are these people who call themselves Christians? Have they read this book? And I know some of you have heard me say that, but I cannot say it enough because we have created a society where we think it is our, not just our right, but our responsibility to judge. And all of the great teachers throughout time have taught us this is not ours to do. And why? Why do we do that? Why do we find somebody to criticize, find somebody to say something negative about, find somebody to be resentful of? Sometimes we have a resentment because we see somebody else being loved, especially if we have anger toward that person. You ever felt that? I mean, maybe you haven't felt it, but I know I felt it. Where I want somebody to be mad with me because this person hurt me. And I will set up a boundary, and a boundary is a good thing. But when you're trying to get other people involved in your business of holding a grudge against someone, it's not a good business to be in. I want to run you out of business today. If you think it is your business to judge, to condemn, and to get other people to judge and condemn, we made this such a culture that we joke about our haters and how our haters are motivators. Don't be motivated by hate. Dr. King said, only love drives out hate. You can't drive out darkness with darkness. You can't drive that out. You've got to turn on the light in the midst of darkness. Be that candle that creates a light in the darkness. You can't drive out hate with hate. We are going to have to agree to try something else. And it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying it's easy because I know I talk a lot about forgiveness and it's hard sometimes. And there are certainly places where I'm not trying to have any judgment about places that we have been hurt and wounded so deeply that it is our work to work that through ourselves, not even focus on that other person, because you know what? There's only one of us anyway. So it's not about forgiving them. It's about freeing us. But I want to talk about loving without fear, because what we're afraid of is somebody's going to say we're stupid. How can you love that person when they did such and such? Somebody's going to say we're naive. You can't love those people. Look at the things that they're doing. Somebody's going to say we're irresponsible. You can't keep loving that person. Now, I've been to Al-Anon, and I for sure am working on my codependence every day. So now I'm not telling you that what you have to do is enable someone, that you have to keep giving to someone your material goods or giving away the things that matter to keep you safe and whole. Don't ever give away the things that make you safe and whole. But love is not one of those things. Love is a bottomless opportunity. It is something that is the essence of who we are. And here's what the Bible says about it in 1 John 4:18. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. And the one who fears is not made perfect in love. I want you to hear that again. Fear has to do with punishment. This is what we've been taught, that we have followed a despotic God who is judging and condemning and going to send us to hell, which is why I'm so glad in this philosophy that we don't believe in hell or evil or sin, or that we're sinners or any of those things, because what did they say? We have what you focus on that you're so afraid of. It just grows and grows in our consciousness. That's what happens to us if we hold on to that fear. But see, love, perfect love, it casts out that fear. It eliminates it. And it's something that you can give freely because you are so much of it. Not you have so much of it. Some of us judge by the fact that we're not loved by the person we want to be loved with. Now, we can have all the love in the world. We could have family and friends. We could be admired. Ask me how I know. And still think we don't have enough love because one person doesn't give us the love. Maybe it was a parent. Maybe it was a partner. Maybe it's a child. Maybe you have this expectation that someone should love you. This person should love you in a certain way. And then we develop this resentment, right? I like to say expectations are resentments on reserve. So we have this thing where we feel like it's ours to judge, but I want to give you a different idea. I want to remind you of something that we've been taught and told so many times. Hurt people hurt people. Now, I want to get beyond that. My friends in Simba taught me a metaphor a long time ago, which I really love. It's called layers of darkness. And it's just this acknowledgement that we come into the world, what I like to call naked and happy. We're just here showing up to have this new experience, and then things happen to us in our environment. Maybe we've been abandoned as a baby or a child. Maybe we've been afraid that someone wasn't going to take care of us. Maybe we've been angry because someone has hurt us. Maybe we've been lonely because we've been left by ourselves. Maybe we haven't had enough to eat or to stimulate our minds, or enough hugs. And so we get to have this feeling of, I need more and more and more. And how we respond to that. See, here we are in our essence, naked and happy, but these layers of darkness come upon us when we have these experiences in the world that frankly hurt. And it's all right for us to say they hurt, because they do. But here's what happens is we start to develop defenses because of these layers of darkness. And so we do things like we attack. We're going to make sure that I hurt you before you hurt me. We do things like avoid. That's the other way. We say, oh, no, I'm not even going to get involved in that. I'm not even going to try to love this person or be with this person. I'm not even going to try to address that situation where there has been so much pain and unforgiveness. I'm not going to try. I'm going to avoid any situation where I could be hurt altogether. And then we have this other thing where we like to accumulate. Right? We feel this sense of, I have to have more and more and more. And when you have that feeling inside yourself, you feel that feeling that nothing is ever enough. No amount of love is ever enough. I have had that experience, and it has been so powerful for me to realize that this love is a gift that I give away and it comes back to me multiplied, pressed down, and running over. Next week, we're going to talk about the greatest love of all, because sometimes we think what we have to do is give love away and that's how we earn it. But I'm talking about love without fear today. But I want you to come back because we're going to talk about loving ourselves, which is the key to all of this. So here we are, we come into the world naked and perfect, and that is the truth about who we are. But we do all of these things and then we think we can't be forgiven. We've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. Some mistakes that I still have to work hard every day not to feel ashamed about. And we carry that, so much guilt, so much shame. And so it is a gift for us to give the hurt people in our lives to say, I love you unconditionally. So I know it's kind of scary for us to turn to the people who seem to be hurt the most and hurting and still love them anyway. So I'm going to invite us to face the fear of loving too much, of loving unconditionally. Face the fear that we'll be judged for it. We probably will. That we'll be called stupid for it. We might. That we'll get hurt again if we love someone who is hurting. And the truth is, we're going to get hurt again. Regardless whether it's them or someone else or whether we hurt ourselves. Hurt is going to happen. It's a product of living. But I'm going to invite us to pray. To pray for the strength to keep loving. And you may not always have it easily, which is what prayer is for. I always say that faith is not for the good times. It's for the times like these when it's hard. Gratitude is for the good times. Let's practice that. But these times when it's hard to love, when we're afraid to love, just call upon that within you that knows. And as you summon up that courage to love unconditionally, to love unapologetically, give it away freely. There's somebody in your life who needs you to come back and tell them you love them. Needs you to let go of the fear that they're not going to appreciate it, that they're not going to change because of it. You're not loving with the expectation, so then you can be resentful because it doesn't work out the way you have in your mind, your agenda for how it's supposed to work out. You are loving because love is a gift. You know, y'all remember Philip Michael Thomas, the brother from Miami Vice? I met him once and I had him sign my copy of Sparkle, because that used to be my favorite movie. And he signed it and he said, "The scent of the rose never leaves the hand of the giver." I love that expression. It's just an idea that when you give your love away, it actually makes you feel good. So I want you to find someone who you know needs to be reminded of how much they are loved. Now, for some of us, we need to just start in the mirror. And like I said, we're going to talk about that next week. But find someone and look into their eyes of the person that you know needs to hear this and say to them, I see you. I see the truth of who you are. I do not believe the lies that people have told you. I see you. I see the truth of who you really are. I do not believe the lies that you have told yourself. God does not make mistakes. You are not a mistake. I want you to hear these words coming from me. Let me say it to you as you reach out and say it to someone else. Tell them you are still perfect, right? Still naked and happy, still perfect in the eyes of God, and nothing can ever change that. Or as my grandma likes to say, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Look at that person and say, I love you. And this love is not something that you have to earn. This love is for who you are. It's not for what you do. It's not for what you don't do. I love you unconditionally. Ernest Holmes said, love is within us. It cannot be destroyed, but it can be ignored. We can't abandon love. If we abandon love, we will feel that it has abandoned us. Denying love, he said, is our only problem. And embracing love is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again right now. Love heals. Love forgives and makes whole. That's the power of love without fear. I double dog dare you to go out and give it and see what happens for you. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope you will continue to be a part of this East Bay Church community and that you will give of your time and your tithe and your talents because we need you just like we hope you love us.